Before I'd even touched an RPG, the Sonic series was one of the first games I really got into, and that was on the Sega Mega Drive, or Genesis if you're in Donald Trump land.
I love chili dogs, by the way.
So I was very happy at the announcement of Sonic Origins, a collection of those Mega Drive games with loads of improvements that could only be achieved by rebuilding those games from scratch. But Origins left a lot of fans unhappy with music changes, and it was generally unfinished with loads of bugs that weren't in the original games.
It's me, the old me. I'm back and I'm bad.
Now the game is getting a big update as well as a physical release as Sonic Origins Plus. Join me and we'll explore if it's worth the asking price. So Sonic Origins includes the remade Sonic 1, CD, 2, and 3 and Knuckles. And the Plus edition also brings 12 more Game Gear Sonic games. These 12 have not been remade or remastered, but I'll get into those later. So the 4 main games have been rebuilt from scratch with the screens extended for proper widescreen support, and this is the single greatest change in Origins. The extended screens look fantastic, but being able to see further ahead is a massive improvement when speeding across the screen. You'll be able to better see oncoming obstacles and enemies. I can remember one Christmas morning unwrapping Sonic and Knuckles and playing through the Mushroom Hill Zone. Sonic really peaked for me with Sonic 3 and Knuckles, and nothing after that was quite the same type of experience. Until Sonic Mania. Now here's the thing, Sonic 3 and Knuckles is very nostalgic for me, and probably for a lot of other players too. But there's a whole load of licensing issues around the music in Sonic 3. Turns out Michael Jackson was involved in the soundtrack.
Yes.
So a whole load of Sonic 3's classic music has been replaced with prototype music that sounds really generic, and this is something that's not been fixed with the Plus edition either. The Ice Cap Zone's music completely ruins that really cool atmosphere. When I transformed into Super Sonic for the first time, it was so disappointing to not hear that original badass theme. And Carnival Zone music doesn't match up. In Act 2 it goes all dark and the original had this almost hellish scary atmosphere to it. Speaking of that, funny little story, I remember back in the day there was this one floating block in the Carnival Zone and I just couldn't figure out how to get past it and I was completely stuck at that point in the game. It was like I was trapped in my own hell with that carnival music playing in the background. Turns out the instructions on how to move this block were in the instruction manual, but I got a second-hand copy of Sonic 3 that didn't have a manual, so I was screwed. But being such a geek, I got the Sonic the Comic, and in one issue there was a Q&A section. Someone else was in the same situation as me and wrote in asking for help. And the writers explained you need to hold up when the block goes up and hold down when it's going down. It sounds really simple, I'm surprised I never worked it out. Hey, trying to grow the channel, trying to reach 10,000 subs, so any likes or subs would be an amazing help. I mostly cover RPGs and occasionally I'll talk about games important to me, like Sonic Origins. Thanks for watching. There's been a few gameplay tweaks, like now you can spin dash in Sonic 1, you can play as Knuckles in Sonic CD, if you press up and jump you can manually make Tails fly instead of needing a second player to carry you, and you can now play as Amy in the 4 main games. There's the addition of the Drop Dash too. The first official appearance of the Drop Dash in 2D was in Sonic Mania. If you haven't played that, a Drop Dash is where you can quickly transition from landing a jump into a spin dash by pressing and holding the jump button when you land. There's something really satisfying about drop dashing and it lets you go even faster. One of my favourite little additions isn't mentioned that much and it's Mission Mode, which stitches all 4 games together and you'll play them back to back with new cinematics in between them, and your score carries over through each game. I mentioned earlier, because these games have been rebuilt, that also means there's new bugs that didn't exist in the original games. Now there is an improvement with all the patches and the Plus edition of the game, but there are still bugs present just for your information. Now you can't play through all the Sonic games in order with that mission mode, that's what I'd do, but if you wanted to just try one, I'd recommend Sonic 3 and Knuckles the most. It's my favourite Sonic game and it's got loads of consistently great levels, creative boss fights, and they try a bit of cool storytelling without any dialogue. There's a bit of replayability with playing Knuckles and getting to take different routes and boss fights, just a pity it doesn't have the original soundtrack. If you're on PC, I'd mod that back in if I was you. Sonic 1 is the most dated of the 4 games, but the addition of newer mechanics like the spin dash help improve this. At the time, this was a revolutionary game, but it doesn't quite hold up compared to Sonic 2 and 3. I'd recommend a quick blast through just to see where it all started. Sonic CD. Now, like me, this might be a Sonic game you didn't play anywhere near launch because it required a Sega CD. It's built a bit like Sonic 1, but it's probably the most dynamic of the 4 games because you can jump between the past, present, and future. And the different timelines play differently in each zone. My favourite level is Stardust Speedway, and if you haven't played CD before, I'd play it just to see that level. Sonic 2. Sonic 2 is probably the most played Sonic game, and at the time it was such a big jump up from Sonic 1. Good boss fights, the boss music is so iconic in number 2. It included co-op, with player 2 being able to play Tails, and for the first time in the series, if you collected all the Chaos Emeralds, you were then rewarded with the Super Sonic transformation. Chemical Plant is my favourite zone just for those high-speed moments and that awesome music track, so it's no wonder why so many players consider number 2 to be their favourite. There are 12 other bonus games added with the Plus Edition. They're not remastered and they're all the Game Gear versions. Sonic Spinball and Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine. That's a match 3 puzzle game. Those are the 2 games I'd recommend trying the most, but these are the Game Gear versions of the game. The original Mega Drive or Genesis versions are much better. Which one is your favourite 2D Sonic? Let me know in the comments and I'll try to read and reply to every single comment. Peace for now.